What's up, world, and welcome to our show, Cuzzo, Convo. We're your hosts, Renaissance Ronnie
and Mo Lovely. We're here to have an open dialogue about all things Black reality TV, highlighting positivity and giving out real life accountability checks.
So grab your seat and whatever you need, because we're about to dig in.
What's going on, world? It is Mo Lovely, and welcome to Cuzzo Convo. I am here with my amazing and lovely host as well.
Hi, it's Renaissance Ronnie.
And of course, we are recapping episode 2 and 3 of Love and Marriage DC. So we're going to jump right on in and get straight to the point. So last week's episode, we have the continuation of Jamie versus Little Jamie, where they are obviously in this particular situation where Big Jamie is calling him out for what he says is irresponsibility, him being spoiled and entitled, etc., etc. And Little Jamie is like, hey, listen, like, this is just like ridiculous. You don't do nothing for me. You ain't there for me. This is this, that, whatever. So interesting enough, we have Quick that kind of comes in and has a talk to him while Jamie, I guess they said, Jamie, I think that you just need to go away because they look like they were going to get into some form of physical altercation. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about Quick's words to him? And well, yeah, do we think that Little Jamie received them? Even though he had obviously some commentary in the confessional room, but do we think that, what do you think about it? Do we think that he actually received his words?
I think that because of the role Quick plays just in the, I guess in the DMV community as a whole, just being like, a sort of like popular guy or whatever in the area, I think that he's, pretty much, he's younger than, he's the age gap between Little Jamie and Big Jamie, so he could kind of see both sides.
Right.
That he was trying to speak some wisdom, I guess, into Little Jamie. I thought in the moment that Little Jamie received it, but as we know, we saw him in the what I like to call confessional or whatever. But that's just from us growing up watching Real World, so I always call it confessional. But that I'm assuming he didn't receive it. He kind of was just like, quick, just leave me alone. Like,
right.
But I thought in the moment that he was receiving it, that he understood. He seemed to calm down much more. And I think Quick was just really trying to break it down to him. I think was trying to explain to him in his words, on his level, on Little Jamie's level, what his father was trying to say. But I think all in all, as we will see later in the next episode, that Quick and even Ashley, I think they're more on Little Jamie's side than he understands.
Right. And so I think that I definitely agree. Like, I think that there was a form of receiving it. I think what he received was his tone, his attitude towards him, and that it wasn't like, listen, little nigga, look, your father is absolutely
wasn't yelling right at him, yeah,
right. And so I think that is what he received, which goes to what you were talking about as far as him calming down, and so I think that's the part that he received. And then as far as his point, when he was just like, Quick, I really appreciate it, but that just wasn't the time in the moment. And so I think that probably what he might have wanted was him saying, hey, listen, I understand this is your dad, this is you guys' problem, you guys know more than me, and I think that in this moment I want just breathe, just take a time, just take a moment, y'all. I think he probably wanted a little bit, because we saw Erana a little bit, but again, it didn't seem like both of his parents really couldn't calm him down. Mm-hmm. So I think that he just really truly wanted probably somebody outside of my parentals or my family to just like, I wanted, because like you said, yes, it is that they're on his side, but I guess when somebody is just already gone, they're not really receiving accountability. So
I mean, and it would be different if in the moment he said, quick, just not right now type of thing. But for him to be, be out of the situation, looking back on the situation, because I'm assuming they are looking at the footage or whatever, and they're commenting on the footage.
Right.
But to still be like, maybe he was explaining how he felt in that moment.
Right. Yeah, and I definitely think he was, for sure. I don't think that and you know how they edit, so they're not going to be like, in the moment, this is what I was thinking. Yeah. But was his words something that I really took heart to, or do I think that his approach to me was better than my dad? Like, they're probably not going to play that, unfortunately.
Right.
So, but yeah. So anyway.
So it lent itself to little Jamie's immaturity. Like, it made him look even more. It made him kind of look like an asshole, kind of.
It's definitely right. It was not really. It wasn't like on his. But I mean, but I also understand too. Like, again, when you're just in a moment, especially if you a hothead. Like, you can't calm hotheads down. Like, they just be like, I don't want to hear nothing. Like, just out of my face, unless you on my side, and I know for sure, and you're like, and I see that you're on my side. Like, a lot of hotheads just they don't want accountability in that moment. It's funny because this is weird, and not to get all, I'm not, because we always get off on the tangent, but real quick, I was watching Save the Last Dance. I haven't seen that movie in like a long time, but what I was just thinking about was Fredro Starr's, his name was Malachi, Kai's part, and Sean Patrick Thomas's part, Derek, where he just was like, he was in the club and he just started fighting this dude, and he was like, no, you can't do this. Like, what are you doing? And so Derek was like, he had his back for a moment. But then, like, when he was talking to him, and like, obviously, like, we seen how their relationship was going, he just was like, listen, dude, like, you can't do this. But what I was talking about was Fredro was definitely a hothead. And when he was even trying to pull him out of that fight to be like, all right, dude, you got him, you good, let's go, and then he like was like, nah, I'm not done with him. He was like, I'm done. And then he was like, nah, let me go back at him. And so he did like kick the dude one more time. But that's how I think that how little Jamie is. I think that just him, like, once he gets to that level, and I mean, it's pretty much everybody, but when somebody is that triggered, like, I think that he's just in the moment, and he's like, I don't want to hear this. Like, I don't want to hear this. Talk to me at another time about all this other stuff. I just want to, if you got my back, I want you to know, thank you. Okay. And we're going to move on. But yeah, so yes, there is definitely some lack of maturity there. But I just, if dad never even got him to this point, none of this would have happened, because again, it just was still inappropriate. So,
and what time or the place.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on. So we have next with Miss
Joi and Erana.
Joi and Erana, who well, not meet up necessarily, but Joi comes over to Erana's house. And so Erana's like, hey, yes, I just wanted to really talk to you about how you felt about Miss Ashley telling you that, pretty much you shouldn't be on that board because you're not a single parent. You're not a mother at all. Like, how did you feel about that? And so I definitely would say that well, Joi is definitely better than, I didn't know that Joi was from Baltimore.
That's what I was going to say. She said she was from Baltimore, and she kind of knows the personality that comes with it.
Right. So, so she's definitely better than me when it comes to like, like having, I guess, like a grace for people like that. So she just was like, hey, I didn't like it. It made me feel some type of way, but at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna write her off, whatever. So I was like, that's good, girl. Um, but I mean, she brought up the points that we brought up pretty much. Like there's just there I think that there just needed to be a better conversation and better delivery. So, but yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah. So then we meet Sherelle and her husband, we did meet them in this episode, right? They're working on or did we
So
meet them in
right. So because it was winter, Sherelle, and Black because they were in the studio. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we meet them, and basically Winter tells Sherelle that she's making the Gutter Barbie song because I'm assuming Sherelle's husband Black is a producer, right? And we also learned that Sherelle's husband Black has worked with Joi in the past in the go-go group Mumbo Sauce.
Right.
So I want to say fast forward to what's her name? Ashley is having a pink party. It looked like Barbie theme or something like that. Pink thing. I mean, it seemed like, she said pink, but then I felt like everybody was dressed kind of like a Barbie doll or something like that. But fast forward to the party, they're having a pink party. Sherelle shows up, of course, with all her body, yaddy, yaddy. And we learn that Joi doesn't like, I don't know, should I say don't like Sherelle? She doesn't like her? Because apparently she doesn't even know her.
Right. So I was the very big confused, but she pretty much said that anybody that's attached to Black, I want no dealings with. Right. So that was her exact words, and I was very confused.
Yeah, I don't think.
I was like, okay. I was like, Black must have really did something to you for you to like feel this way, because
right.
That was a bit odd to me.
So I felt like in the moment she was suggesting that something went down with the go-go group, the go-go band or whatever, for her and Black, for Joi not to like Black, like maybe he disbanded the group or something to do with money. But it seems like later on we're going to learn it has something to do with him seeing her best friend and then but breaking up with her best friend to get with Sherelle, or cheating on her best friend with Sherelle, or something like that. Honestly, I still don't think that's a good reason for her to be mad at Sherelle, or not even being able to even get to know her. I mean, technically Sherelle did anything to her.
Correct.
So, and there's always two sides to a story. I'm sure her best friend told her, yeah, he was with me and treating on me with Sherelle, and now he's made Sherelle his wife. They're married.
Yes, they are.
And yeah, because they had like a viral wedding thing. But so I just don't think Joi should really just cut for that. I think that's a little petty. But anyway.
Yeah, and it also doesn't really line up with what she said last week. Because last week she was like, anybody that's also messing with my coin, my bag, my money.
Right.
And I'm like, so the only way, so I'm just in my head and I'm thinking, so is she saying that Sherelle was responsible for like saying, Black, I don't no longer want you to work with this woman because whatever. So then Black was like, all right, guys, well, the group is over because my girlfriend, fiance doesn't want me to be a part of blase blase. Like,
so the friend was in the group too, right? Didn't they say that?
I don't think that was confirmed. I don't know.
Oh, because my thought process was that the best friend was a band member too, and that maybe it all got messy because he was sleeping with her, but then maybe cheated on her or broke up with her and started messing with Sherelle, and so it made the inner workings of the band messy. So they broke up. The band broke up. I just assume I don't know where I thought I heard that the best friend was also in the band.
Oh yeah, I don't think
Maybe I made that up.
confirmed that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I like I said, I was completely confused, and so I can't wait for the whole story to truly unravel because I'm still a little confused. Because like I said, what Joi said last week doesn't really even line up with what we're going to get next week. Right. And so I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? So we'll to be continued in that matter. But
right, is it your bag or is it your best friend Joi?
Right, just talking about like her reasoning for not wanting to have any dealings with Sherelle because of something of the past. With is definitely because Mumbo Sauce has been like over for has it been like over for like at least a decade, like 10 years?
I don't know when the last time I heard something from Mumbo Sauce, like.
So that's been a minute, like, so it's time to like let that go. Yeah. So anyway, so that's that, and then we move on to
Sherelle, or Sherella, as Ashley calls her, lets Ashley know that Winter is creating a Gutter Barbie song.
Yeah.
That's not a diss track, but an ode to them, I guess.
Yeah, child, I don't know, whatever.
which sparks a conversation with Erana, of course, because she was the other Gutter Barbie. Mm-hmm. And so Erana basically says, well, Winter said she wanted to meet up and talk, so I'm gonna take her up on her offer and I'm gonna go talk to her. Mm-hmm. Which brings us to, well, I do want to mention that we got a little glimpse of Ashley's mom at the pink party. It was kind of,
I must have missed that.
Because her mom was kind of like, I guess basically people were waiting outside to get in, and her mom was like, should I let these people in? Should I just let them, wait out here in the lobby area? And she was like, no, don't let them in, because like she was like really going off. And when I read it and it said that was her mom, I was like, that's her mother? But, of course we later find out what that's all about. But so anyway, Erana meets up with Winter to discuss. Apparently, Winter had DM'd Erana,
apparently she did.
Well, she did, and Winter actually brought it up on the reunion too, that she had some receipts about Erana and Jamie and their children, and we never really got to the Jamie part of the receipts. It was mostly focused on the Jason part of the receipts, which I didn't like. Basically, what somebody sent Winter was that Erana and Jamie sent Jason off to a school in Baltimore and basically didn't raise him, is basically what they're saying. Then once he aged out of the school, they brought Erana's mom in to help, well, not even to help, to care for Jason because they didn't want to be bothered. So my take on that is that, well, first of all, in regards to Winter in her bringing these receipts to Erana, I don't think that Winter had good intentions. But what the receipts were, I think there's some truth to it. And this is what I think. I think that Jason probably was, in fact, in a school in Baltimore, like a boarding school in Baltimore that probably specialized in children with disabilities. I believe that Erana's mom probably did come stay with them to be with Jason, but I don't necessarily believe that it's because they didn't want to be bothered with Jason. Just like, not at all. I just think that I'm not a parent of a child with a disability, but sometimes you do what you think is best. And so I think they believed that it was best to send him to the boarding school, and I think they believed that they needed help. Although Erana, from my understanding, was a stay-at-home mom.
Well, she worked for the government
for a while at first, yeah. I do believe that they felt like they needed help in the household, and you know how it is. Grandmas are just more nurturing, more there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just don't know if I like necessarily the narrative that they just did not want to be bothered with Jason, or like, I don't want to say they don't want to be bothered with Jason. I want to say maybe Jason was too much for them to do, or they felt they couldn't do it by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you can get help, I don't see a problem with it. I don't know if I would necessarily send my child to a boarding school, but I definitely don't see a problem with her mom coming in the household to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just didn't like the whole conversation with Winter and Erana was centered around Jason. I don't think that's fair to Jason.
Yeah. So I will definitely say this. I think, and again, unless Carlos called them and be like, hey, we can use this on the show, don't even entertain it, whatever. The thing is that
How many months?
this didn't even really even need to be what I appreciate what Winter was trying to do was say, hey, I'm DMing you, there's a lot of receipts about you, your family, your children, whatever, would like to meet up with you to like talk to you about them. And so again, I didn't understand when Erana said it on the DJ Richie show, Richie Sky show. I did not understand why she was like, it was just ridiculous when I found out that she was talking about my kids. And I was like, well, she wasn't talking about your kids. And it's not like she listed these receipts on a public platform. She was saying, hey, listen, I didn't feel comfortable at the reunion letting these receipts out. And I would like to meet up with you to tell you, hey, these are the that I really truly have receipts. And here are the receipts and whatever. So my thing is that Erana had the opportunity to sit down with Winter. My thing is that somebody's saying something, whether it's about my children or whatever, I'm going to be like, oh, especially if you're saying like, don't mess with my kids, don't mess with my kids. Everybody, whatever, from Love and Marriage to Huntsville, don't mess with my kids, don't mess with my kids. If we're really about don't mess with my kids, then be about that and say, oh, okay, you want to show me some receipts about what they're saying about my children? Yeah, let me meet up with you. I'm going to look at the account. I'm going to, and I get it that she's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't, when it comes down to, everybody in DC got something to say, everybody talks, everybody, whatever. But again, if you're that adamant about your children not being messed with, then I still to this day don't understand why Erana just couldn't have met up with Winter separately. And this didn't even have to.
I mean, I think that it's kind of obvious that they were just trying to make up a
right.
scene.
For sure with that. But
I just think initially
saying the whole it's not fair to Jason, what I'm saying is that they didn't even need to, this didn't even need to even happen at all if it just would have been a meetup. And then her just saying, going to Carlos and saying, hey, listen, like, we met up. Okay, some of the receipts that she showed me, whatever. Maybe I'll talk about it, but I don't want to have a sit down with her about it. So I would just simply just say, like, I can tell you what some of the receipts are, and then I'm going to say my aspect. She can tell you what some of the receipts are, and she can tell you her aspect, and we just won't keep it like that. Like, I just feel like I don't know, like, yeah.
Like I said, it just, first of all, Winter is not her friend, so I just don't like that it was made like she was looking out for her type of thing. I don't know. It just, but the whole scene itself was stupid. It just felt like, you know what it felt like? It felt like that scene with Marceau and I'm about saying Destiny, Marceau and Mel, when it was date night with him and him and Tisha, and he was like, Mel's coming, and then Mel came and she was like, if it's not about me, I don't want to. Like, it was like, okay, why did we have this scene?
Right. No, for sure. Like, yeah. So anyway, So, but anyway, so moving on from Miss Winter.
Well, speaking of them bringing Mama in to take care of Jason, Mama still taking care of them because Mama was making breakfast and
she kept yelling down, "Can y'all come?
They better come eat." I was like,
Grandma had burned some of them pancakes up though.
I was like, at this point, Mama, the kids is grown. You can go ahead and live your life, honey, because why are you still making breakfast for these 50 plus people.
Yeah.
Because they're in their 50s, right?
I guess they are.
Yeah, mama retired. Like, you don't need to make them breakfast and make sure they come downstairs and eat it no more. Like, girl,
I know. I'm going to say, Arena was ready to go on her daggone marathon run.
Right, Erana looks like she like, Mom, you know I don't eat pancakes and bacon eggs for breakfast. You know I'm on a diet.
Yeah, so I was like, she probably like, Mom, this is not even what I eat. You know?
I drink smoothies for breakfast.
Yeah, smoothies. Have me some oatmeal with some blueberries and almonds. Like, yeah, she definitely is definitely doesn't give like she eats like that. So.
And then I was thinking about how she was like, now that Jamie has retired, that he can help around the house. And she was listing, well, she could barely list the things she wanted him to do, but she was like, wash the dishes and fold the clothes. And I'm thinking to myself, that sounds like Mama probably does that anyway, and not you, Erana. So like, what? She was like, I mean, you can help wash the dishes. And he was like, we got a dishwasher. She was like, well, I've been washing your clothes, fold the clothes. Mama said, I fold the clothes. She said, well, I wash them and you fold. I'm like, bye.
She want him to cook. She want him to cook dinner. She was like, you can
They go
cook dinner. So, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that whole scene was a hot mess.
Because at first I didn't know what Mama kept yelling upstairs for them to do, but okay, we digress. So then we have Ashley. She goes to see her mom, right? I think that scene might have actually happened.
Her mom first.
Yeah, I was to say that scene actually might have happened first. Mm-hmm. But I always give Ashley a little bit of grace. And so it gives you a little bit more understanding into Ashley's demeanor and her behavior. But I do think Ashley needs some therapy. She's holding on to a lot of childhood trauma that she for her health needs to let it go.
Yeah. For sure.
Because her mom saying you was 16, you was a grown lady was weird. And then her mom saying you was a bad child. I just wanted to know what she meant. Like,
yeah. So I sympathize and empathize with both of them actually. So on the end of like being 16 and just having your mother just uproot and leave, that is just traumatic. One, but I was having a discussion with Tony and I said when she said but you was bad and that daggone voice crack, she was passionate about but you was bad. And so something tells me, which I understand, like and I'm not saying that all teenagers go through this, but and I wouldn't consider myself a bad teenager. Like, I mean, I probably gave my mom an attitude here or there, but I know what we know of Ashley. I can see that she definitely, most likely, definitely challenged her mom. And so, though I do not agree, because I don't want y'all be trying to eat me up in the comments, like, how you going? No, I do not agree that her mother should have left, again, uprooted. But I will say this. I think that it was most likely for Ashley's safety in the sense of, because this is the thing, I've had several friends from Baltimore and mothers, like Ashley's mother, Baltimore mothers are very much alike. And so I will say this, Baltimore mothers are not afraid to fight their daughters. Probably not even afraid to kill their daughters. Or children in general. So I'm going to say this, just from what I know from personal experience of having friends that have mothers and that have not, a lot of times have not been raised by their own moms like that. Or mom has been in and out of their life, including dad being in and out of their life. I will say this. I think that whatever mom was mentally going through, as far as like, I'm trying to be here for this girl, but this girl is doing this, and the third. I need to leave because I'm a herder. And I really just think that that's what that was. And so, but the fact that she moved in with the man, it wasn't that she left for several weeks and was like, I just need a moment. She did it with the man. But the thing is, unfortunately, she did it with the man because she needed the escape. She needed somebody to take her mind off of everything that Ashley said, everything Ashley did, all of her attitude. She wanted the escape. So she escaped with this man, and that's what made her feel good in the moment for those weeks. And then obviously
I don't think she was saying that she left only for some weeks and then came back. I think Ashley didn't see her again for some weeks, but she continued to live with the man for years, is what I was understanding.
I mean, that could be possibly true. Like I said, she could just been really just like tapped out. Like, I'm tapped out of motherhood, because she also does not seem like a young mother. Like, and I don't, again.
Well, Ashley has an older sibling, right? An older sister.
Right, and Ashley's the baby, so she could be, you know. So either mom, and that, which is why she also possibly made that comment, maybe mom was a teenage mom and with the older sister, and then Ashley came down the line a little bit later, and then she just was like, girl, I ain't got the patience for this, like. And yeah, which again, it doesn't make it right. I'm not trying to, but again, like, if I think about it, like thinking about some of my old friends, when it comes, like, so I'm just thinking about like one of my old friends' mother, like, when she first met me, she was like, I don't hug, so make sure you don't put your hands on me.
I already know who you're talking about.
And I was like, okay.
And I've never even met this mother. I met the daughter, but I've never met the mother, but I already know who you're talking about.
Yes, and I just was like, and then when she met my husband, and he was like, oh yeah, okay, hey, and I forgot to tell him, and she looked straight at me and was like, what, why didn't you? And I was like, listen, I was like, calm down. She was like, you already know how I roll, I'm already the gut punch. I was like, God, and then I was always getting phone calls about like, this is how my mother, like, she is always like calling me, telling me I don't have no friends. This is my mother always telling me that, whatever, because she was always having a conversation with me too. She was like, I only like you and then two of my babies over there across the room. She was like, who are these other people? Well, you need to talk to your friend. These ain't her. And I was just like,
but if you think about, well, I want to say this first.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley's mom gave me very much that she thought it was okay. When she said that Ashley was a bad child, it made me think that she thought it was okay to leave Ashley at that age, given very much, you think you're grown anyway, so be grown. But when I want to say about your old friend and Ashley, when I think about both of their personalities, I think about how it's almost like they got something to prove. Like they, regardless of what happened with me and my mom, or how my childhood was, or how I felt like my mom treated me, it's kind of like a look at me now type of thing. So they do a lot, because from what I know of your friend, because I don't really know her like that, but when of course I don't know Ashley, but I just know what I see on TV. It just gives me very much like just they got something to prove, like they felt like, because like their mother in particular thought that they were going to be one way, but they're probably the most quote unquote successful, even if it's through marriage. They're probably the most successful in their family. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So, and of course we know, I don't know what's going on with your old friend now, but of course she, married into a prominent. So whatever. But I digress. I mean, like I said, it just gave us a little bit more insight into Ashley and why she's so abrasive. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I guess where she can be, that, and then the whole closed offness of, I would say, when it comes to like friends, like, oh, well, this is my friend with I'm not giving her the D yet, we're like, yes. So that's just mother wound speaking. And again, I don't know, because she was like, oh, your god, what she say, her grandmother and godmother was there, or whoever. There were
She
people
didn't
that
say grandma. She said your sister and your sister and your god brother.
okay, yeah. And then
I don't know where
obviously
grandma was at.
And then obviously we see that the best friend, Alicia, who was like, yeah, girl, we was going grocery shopping by ourselves, and da 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 da
And that's what made me think like it's probably was very much like you think you run away, so just be grown. Because then Alicia saying she moved in as well, and it was like, where was your parents? Where was your parents where you was moving in
child, right?
over there? So
What you mean, you child? You remember the time? Do you remember the time when I daggone Sherelle, who lived across the street from me, told me I'm running away from home, and then that daggone Sherelle came and whooped her tail, fell on my daggone living room floor? Okay, listen, I was just like,
I
man,
don't
this
like
is
to
not.
use names. Allegedly, Sherelle and Terrell was their names. Sherella.
But
Yeah.
so yeah, like there would have been no me running away from home or me going and living with somebody else. That wouldn't. That
Yeah.
wasn't working. That wasn't. But yeah,
And
anyway.
the fact that another thing was the fact that Ashley hadn't been back to her childhood home in 20 years. It's
Yeah,
like you would think that she lived in California and moved to the East Coast or something. Like it's literally like down the street. Like I just thought that was weird that she hadn't been, and her mom obviously lives there. So I just thought it was weird that she hadn't been back to the house in 20 years.
yeah. And I will say that, like, that was also very interesting that she said that, the man ended up leaving her because she wanted to be a grandmother to my son Antonio. And I was like, that's interesting. Oh well. Like, I don't know what that would. Mama must have been really like giving her all, and whatever that means to this
I,
man, where he was like, oh, you want to
yeah,
be
I
a
took it
grandmother?
as him. Yeah, you want to spend more time over there than over here, type of thing.
Yeah, like so. So he definitely was in her head for multiple years, because Antonio is 14. Yeah, I think he's 14, about to be 15. So yeah, that was a long time that she spent with that man from what you call him. So, but anyway, yeah. So yeah. So I like I said, you're right. She definitely needs some therapy, and hopefully she is. A book is great, and I'm happy for her that she's able to reflect. I
I
think
think
that,
she
yeah,
thinks that she's healing herself, but I don't
right,
think.
but there's definitely much more that needs to occur, for sure, for her to process it. And I think that her best friend was right in the sense of saying, like, hey, like, you're going to have to come to grips with, you're probably never going to get that type. I mean, the yeah, like,
You're
I
not going
doubt
to
that I would
get
be apologized to for vacuum being thrown at me. So I mean, like, and it probably would be, and it would probably, if I was to ever write that in a book and said this is what was done to me, there would probably be said, no, it didn't. And I'm
yeah.
like, and so I think that we have to, and I hate that we have to, like, sometimes compartmentalize our trauma and being like, whatever, like, why is it that I remember this and you don't remember this, right?
Right.
And so I think that, especially when it comes to our parents, we just feel like, or they don't want to remember all of the things that,
I
whatever.
definitely have a story of
Yes, but one,
of my parent doing something, and that when I brought it up as an adult, the parent is just like, "What?" I'm
yes,
like,
they're
"It
like,
definitely happened."
I'm like, why would I just like make these things up? So the thing is that I've realized is that, like, again, to if I'm wanting to really truly process things and forgive and move forward, then I have to do that outside of that individual. Because if
Mm.
I don't, then it's just going to me re-traumatize me if I say, well, that these are some of the things that you said, these are some of the things that you did that really affected me this way, that way, and the third. So I think that and I think that's what Ashley's best friend was trying to say is you got to come to grips where you may never, ever, ever, ever get that. Now we did see her mom apologize, but
it's like she had to force her.
But Ashley, right? But Ashley wants her to literally go, and you're apologizing for what specifically? That's what she wants her to lay it all out. But my thing is that, girl, some parents don't humble themselves at all to give any form of apology. So the fact that she said, listen, Ashley, people are not perfect and I am sorry. Like, girl, wrap that up, write the date down, write the time down.
What's on camera, so.
Exactly. And be like, okay, my mom apologized to me. What I have preferred for her to say, because you know what, I did leave. I shouldn't have left you at the age of 16. But it's just like you're wanting a lot. You're wanting a lot with a woman that, again, we can even hear that the fact that she thinks that 16 years old is a grown woman, that is some trauma that she has dealt with, where either her mom, her father, or whomever raised her told her the same thing. You 16, you a grown woman. What you doing, right? So that's the thing too, is that we have to also understand that, like, their trauma comes down the pipeline on us, and though it is not something that is okay, we call it out, we call out the behavior, and then it is up to us to say, either I'm going to deal with this person and understand this is what's going on, or I'm going to say it's not a safe place for me. I'm not at that place. I'm going to heal. Maybe we can come back together. But, and that's what I've had to do with one of my parents. It is what it is. Like, I just came to a point where I just was like, this is not mentally safe for me anymore. Like, me wondering why do I feel this way? Why do you always keep popping in and out? I was just like, I'm real grown, and I'm still like having
waiting by the door.
Right, like that little girl that's still, and I'm like, no, I don't need to continue to re-traumatize myself, something that you may not understand, but what I'm understanding in my healing process, and it's not good for me. So we've already called it out, no, I'm not getting an apology. And then somebody asked me not too long ago, like, well, are you living for the apology? No, I'm not living for the apology. If it happens, great. I always will have an open door for reconciliation, but the reconciliation has to come with, hey, I've realized these faults. I am working on changing. I'm willing to change, and I would like for you to come with me in this journey. If I don't hear those things and I don't see those things, it's not me hearing and actually doing. It's two different things too. So if I don't hear it, see it, and actually and I'm experiencing it with you, then no, we don't even bring me a part of that, because yeah. So I think that, like I said, the best friend is right. She just needs to, if you're going to be in your mom's life, accept it for what it is and what you have. And if she is not going to change, it's up to you to say, hey, as much as I love you, I don't think that this is the best for me right now, because it might be just temporary.
Do we know anything about that?
No. So, and that can be,
that's a whole nother,
a form of acting out to a teenager wanting the attention of whatever, which is possibly why when she talks about her getting with Quick and how she was 19, where I was, all my friends were whatever, doing their thing, going to school, starting this, doing this. I was at home. I was, with kids. So, that whole getting with somebody to feel, even though we know that Quick has his own brokenness and things that where he came from as well, I just think that she
they probably trauma bond.
Yes. Pretty much. But yeah, so, and moving forward to talking about Quick, where Quick did set up a surprise party for her, which was very nice. And obviously, I was
cracking up when she said that she hadn't heard from nobody all day, so she knew that.
Yes, child. When she walked in, she was like, I said,
so nobody didn't pretend, at least call
Right.
her and be like, girl, what you doing today or anything?
Right. Like, can we go to lunch? Can we go
Right.
to, whatever? So I was like, when she walked in, she looked like she said, I know, yes, it's
Right.
not.
Even if he had made her think that had her girlfriends call her and be like, come on, girl, let's go to Kitchen Cray and eat for your birthday. And at least she would not think that her friends was, it
Right.
just, by them, no, nobody called her because she was like, I haven't heard from my family or friends all day long. So it's either that they're the worst or that they're surprising me. I was like, yeah, like, why didn't they just act normal?
Yeah. So, but
But
yeah.
you get
So
to the
yeah. Yeah. But you know what we missed? I just realized before we even got to talking, I know we were talking about, but there was
Joi and Clifton.
no, not even no, not Joi and Clifton. I mean, I agree with homegirl. Listen, child, they old. They not.
But
I'm sorry.
Mo, I didn't. You know what? I didn't. Just to quickly skim over them. I want to know why she signed up for this show. Like, I feel like now she wants to start kind of living a more private life,
Mm,
and it's like, so why are you on another reality show?
right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's to prove a point. I don't know if it's. I don't know.
She's like,
I
we
don't.
need something for ourselves now, and it's like, but you didn't sign up for a whole nother reality show now, honey.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. So
And
she
this
might.
not a one-time thing like Ready to Love. This is I mean, if they granted they get greenlit for seasons and seasons and seasons, this is something you're going to be doing.
Right. And so I will say that because Ready to Love recording is very different from Love and Marriage. And so because with Ready to Love, like they're only having like certain shoot like it's you know what I'm saying?
Dates or
Like
whatever.
right, you're going on about your life and then they're like, hey, you're gonna go on a date and we need you to
Right,
meet us here at this time. And then it's like for like 2, 3, 4 hours and then boom, your day is done. You know.
right.
Where obviously with this is a little bit more where you're shooting a scene and then you got to do confessional and then you got to do so yeah, so it's very different. So yeah, she might realize that she got into the process and was like, ugh, I don't want to do this no more, but I guess I got to. I signed the contract. But yeah, but I mean, I listen, I think that Clifton really wants to I think that Clifton wants to spoil her on this day. She's never been married. So I think that it's more about him wanting to give her based off of what he knows. But she's like, I don't want and I think that goes for her probably singing at so many weddings and her being like, she like this, they pay me 10 to 15K to sing at their daggone wedding. She was like, we ain't about to spend 10 to 15K on just no singer alone and then 25K on flowers and then she probably was like, I don't. This doesn't make any sense to me. So
And
I'm
she
like,
also mentioned that she like never like thought about like as a girl because I think he was kind of leaning into the fact that women or girls dream of having like a fairy tale wedding. And she was like, let me, and I can sympathize with her because I never fantasized about a fairy tale wedding either. Like I
yeah,
never
me
even thought
neither.
about being married. Like it was just like whatever. Like okay, I'll probably grow up and get married, but I never thought, yeah, I'm gonna have a husband, and my wedding is I'm gonna have this kind of dress, and then I'm gonna have these many flower girl. Like I never thought about it.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. I've always wanted something very small and intimate. I never, ever, ever. Because the thing is that half them people that's there, like she said, free food and drinks, and then you be like, and then half them people that's there, you don't be hearing from them people after you be like this. Then the last time I saw them was at they wedding. That was
20 years ago.
exactly. You be like, okay. But anyway,
So, but what
so
was you saying we missed?
um well, I was saying, well, at Ashley's, the sit down with Ashley Quick and Jamie
That was
Sherelle
at the
Black.
party. Yeah, that's at the.
Yes. Yeah, because I was about to jump into Alicia, which is really the last part because,
Oh yeah, the
but
accident.
I was, yeah, but that was an interesting conversation that was had, and again, Jamie popping off, Big Jamie, popping off wrong and saying like, I mean, there was no decency, no respect, no honor to his son, especially with the mental aspect of it. And
Do you think that's a generational thing? It's for him to be like, he's just doing that for attention. You think that's generational? Because I could actually see my parents saying that.
I mean, I guess it could be. The only issue that I have though is out of the 25 years he was a police officer, you're telling me that you've never experienced you've never experienced a young person's suicide. So yes, I hear what you're saying, but just being on the police force, you're not telling me that you've not dealt with any form of like teenage or young like suicidal like scenes or whatever you want to call them, situations. Right. So I would think that he would emphasize, because he was like, oh, he's been saying this since he was 16, and I was just like, but that's a real, like, that can be a real thing, like that just because he was been saying it since he's 16 and he hasn't taken necessarily action on it doesn't mean that it's not real, you know.
Like say unfortunately it's one of those things that you don't know until you know. Like it happens and then it's too late. Like
right.
You don't take it serious. Once you take it seriously after it has happened, and then it's too late. Like
and I just feel like I think that would break his heart, because he would be like, everybody was right. I did not pay attention. I didn't, and like, it's very bothersome for me. I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry. Like I just can't get on board with it. It's absurd behavior. And I will say this, I think that Jamie needs to do, talking about Big Jamie, he needs to do some therapy, because I think that also whatever abrasiveness and the behavior, his behavior that he's learned from from childhood and then being on the police force, I think that he needs to let some of that go. Like some of that like real, because we know how these police are out here. Like, I don't care what you are, black, white, indifferent, child, but I had a copy of a daggone day. Tony was doing like a drop-off delivery, and the daggone miss was some brum, 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 brum. Child, I got myself out that car and I rolled my eyes. I said, it ain't that deep. And he was like, it's a small road. And I went up to the car. I said, what you say? He was like, it's a narrow road. You can't stop right here. I said, well, what you want for delivery people to do? It was a delivery that needed to be happened. So where you want us to go? You want us to go around the corner and walk 2 miles to give the person whatever? You need to contact the mayor and see if the mayor can do something about this particular, because it was right down by the water, by the National Harbor. So I was like, what you want? And he was like, I said, so they got to get they lift. He was like, I understand now. I understand. But I was like, but you weren't trying to understand. You were using your power. You were like, he like blasted his lights in the car, boom, 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 move your vehicle. Like, you didn't even like get out the car to be like, hey ma'am, whatever, like, is there a reason why you're here? Like, have a conversation with somebody. You don't need to use your power that way. And this is why and this is why half of y'all, or more than half of y'all, get into situations and y'all get in it wasn't until I came up to talk to you to be like, well, here's what's happening. There's a delivery, there's a drop off that's happening. And so therefore, and he was just like, oh, I understand. You could have understand if you took the time. And so I say all that to say that I think that Jamie just needs, and it was a black officer, y'all, it wasn't a white officer. We don't really have a lot of white officers out here. Well, they work in Georgetown, but mainly, and most of them are like sergeants and like whatever, but it's black up in here. But so my thing is like, I think that Jamie really just needs to get some therapy to say, I need to let go of some childhood stuff, and I need to let go of behavior that I've learned on the force and that I've been enforced to do in the streets of DC for 25 years. Because it's literally impacting how he communicates, even how he communicates with Erana. Because Erana literally is like sitting over there she's not even sitting by her husband. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, I think that he drunk too much. So this is why, he's speaking how he's speaking and why he's speaking about his son like this. And I'm like, we can blame it on alcohol all we want to, but at the end of the day, when somebody is intoxicated like that, normally the truth comes out. So he really feels
and this, you could see it in her face that it's very upsetting for her not to just hear for her son to be telling her that, he has been having issues with his mental health and he's thinking about taking his own life and things like that. But it's probably upsetting for her that her husband seems to not have any sympathy for the situation. So it's like, and I have to tell my husband all the time, like, he'd be like, you too soft on these children and all that. And I'm like, these kids be out here killing themselves. Like,
yeah,
our kids are old enough that we could talk to them. Like,
yeah. And the thing is that we have to also remember that when you are putting your kids out, especially if they're in school, they spend more hours out there in the world than they do at home. So if they feel that whatever they might be dealing with, that they may share when they're home or they may not share, and then they come home and they don't feel like they have that safe space or that sacred space where they can either express themselves, or it's like, okay, like, all right, I had this type of day, and I know that I can go home and I can whatever, like, even if I do have an attitude or whatever, it's like, all right, we need to talk, what's going on. So, I think that we as parents also have to remind ourselves of that. If that they're spending way more time out there and they're influenced way more out there and they only have this limited of time with us here, then yeah, we need to be very sympathetic and empathetic communicators, so that they don't feel like, well, damn, I mean, out there, they making fun of me, they got something to say, or I ain't got the latest this, or I whatever. Then I come home and then my parents are barking on me about XYZ, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, I do, I just, they both need therapy for sure, or they all do. Cause again, I don't know if I could be a mother. I don't know. I mean, I'm a mother. Obviously I have a son, and I just don't think that I can allow for my husband to just like, like, I mean, I keep my husband accountable. Like, I tell him like to not like get in my son's face. Cause like when he gets to a point, he'd be like, I'll be like, I said, respect the boundary. Yes, he's a toddler and your child, but I was like, respect the boundary. Cause this is the thing, whatever you're showing him, he's going to go out and do. So if you show him that behavior of whatever, he's going to consistently think like, well, if this is done to me, then I can go out and do it to somebody else. So, cause he already got a hitting problem. We'd be like this, well, we don't hit you. So he'd be like, just be like hitting girl. He'd be doing like all these little like combos. I feel like, where are you getting this from? Because this is like I'm like, we don't touch.
And honey,
like,
it's natural. I'm gonna be a boxer.
And that's what we like, and so that's the thing too. I'm like, okay, what can I do as a mother to, instead of me saying like all the time, because I also like anyway, I digress. I'm not even gonna get into that. But yeah, trying to use that behavior and being like, okay, how can I turn this into a positive? So like trying to get him in maybe like some sort of like martial arts. So he has like the discipline of saying, this is what I do, but I need to center my anger in a way that's not, whatever. But again, he's a toddler, so he's going through it at this age. Right. So, but still, even at that, like me still acknowledging like, we can still work on this, because because we don't put our hands on you and you're still placing your hands on us, you're still thinking that it's okay. Like, and so we need to like get something in place to be like, no, that's not okay.
It'll be better once he learns how to use his words more.
Yeah.
Right now, he just like, this is the way I'm letting you know.
Right, that I don't like something. Absolutely. So.
But yeah, we kind of got off. But so I mean, we kind of learned a little bit earlier, like at the beginning of the party, that Alicia, who is Ashley's best friend, was in a car accident. I did not like the drama buildup of it all. Like, cause here come Angela crying, and I'm like, is Alicia okay? Like, what's going on? but I'm sure probably her nerves was just probably like shooken up or whatever. How do I feel about Ashley and Quick's conversation? I think that Quick could have handled it better, as in maybe contacting someone who was with Alicia, if he could, to, just to kind of say, she's okay, she's with so and so. They took her home, like just a little bit more details. It was just kind of like Angela saying she's okay though, and then that was it. And it's like, okay, I'll tell Ashley later. And that because I mean, the way Ashley's looking at, I'm assuming Ashley looks at Alicia like her sister, and it's just like my sister was in a car accident, saying her car was totaled, and I can't get in contact with her. So like, I basically don't know anything. So I'm just supposed to just stay here and have a good time. Be like, yeah, I'll call her tomorrow. So I mean, you're gonna be worried. You're gonna be like, I mean,
right.
Even like I say, even if he or Ashley didn't hear Alicia's voice per se, even if they could have contacted someone or got in contact with someone who is with her at the, right now or at that moment, to say, yeah, she's home now, she's okay, or they checked her out, the ambulance came and checked her out, she's fine. But it's just something more than just she's okay and that's it. Like, I don't know. I mean, I just would think that if I was receiving secondhand information about you, but they were telling me your car's totaled and you're okay, and I would just be like, oh, okay, I'll talk to her tomorrow. Like, I don't think I would be like that, unless it's just like from Tony specifically saying, I'm here with her, we're home now, type of thing.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I'm just like, so I'm just supposed to be like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But the way she went off of him saying, you don't have real friends, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I was like, Ashley, you were always kind of, but it's her mother. That's like,
and maybe she feels like he doesn't have real friends. Maybe she feels like it's an industry thing, or maybe she feels like his friends, I mean, guys are kind of different in a sense. Maybe she feels like your friends aren't, y'all are just like hang up buddies. They're not emotionally available to you, type of thing. Maybe that, again, Ashley might have just said it wrong. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
then she was upset.
Yeah, I was like,
don't have real friends. I thought they or his friends was at home like that.
I was like, oh girl, I was like, you're upset, but you're taking it out on him the wrong way. She was like, hey, because you don't have any friends. No, you don't. You don't have any real friends. Like, he's like, I have friends. Poor Quick. I was like, poor Quick. I was like, so I don't know. Yeah, I just wish that she just would have watched and minded her words in the moment. I get that she, I think that he should have just said, okay, I understand, and then just let her go. Cause yeah, she's gonna become like her mama, very ruthless with the tongue.
Yeah, I was about to say she fights a lot with her words, and it's just like, why you gotta dig that deep? Like, I know somebody like that, and it's like, we can have a disagreement or argument, but every time I just feel like it's a below the belt thing, and it's like, why'd you go there?
Right. So, but anyway, y'all. So yes, y'all can let us know in the comment section what you guys think about episode 2 and episode 3 of Love and Marriage DC. We are out. And for those of you, because I definitely did not welcome our old Cuzzos back, so my apologies. Hey, and to the new ones and our new subscribers, welcome, welcome, welcome. And always remember, to everybody, love up on that like button, hit the subscribe button, and share, share, share. Love y'all. Peace.
I look like I'm in jail.